Reform and Revolution. The Stockton Line and the Darlington Line were two railways that opened in England in 1825. This is George Stephenson, the inventor of the locomotive, which was invented in 1814 but did not gain popularity until 1829. This is William Lovett. He and other London radical artisans formed the London Working Men's Association, which which issued the charter, which consisted of 6 points, which were universal male suffrage, annual election of the House of Commons, equal electoral districts, secret ballots, the abolition of property qualifications for the members of the House, and the payment of the House of Commons. This is Feargus O'Connor, the most important Chartist leader, and who made speeches across Britain. The English Factory Act of 1833 forbade the employment of children under 9, limited the work day of children aged 9 to 13 to 9 hours a day, and required the factory owners to pay for 2 hours of education a day for these children. Parliament mandated a 10-hour work day, which was passed after the English Act, which was also in 1847. The role of men as the breadwinners and father and husband became more distinct during this time. Women were women were used in factories to fill unskilled positions. So factory owners would turn to unmarried women and widows. This is Louise Ashton, who wrote a poem about the sexual exploitations of women. The most likely occupation for a young woman was domestic service. The London police force was created in 1828. Transportation to the colony of New South Wales in Australia was used as alternative to capital punishment. John Howard and Elizabeth Fry in England and Charles Lucas in France exposed the terrible conditions in prisons and demanded change. Treadmills in many prisons were the only source of exercise available to English prisoners. Laissez-faire dominated during this time. Laissez-faire translates to let the people do as they please. Thomas Malthus published an essay on the principle of population, where he contended that population must eventually outstrip the food supply. David Ricardo wrote Principles of Political Economy, which transformed the concepts of Malthus into the iron law of wages. If wages were raised, parents would have more children. In Fragment on Government and the Principles of Moral and Legislation, Jeremy Bentham explained the application of the principle of unity would overcome the special interests of privileged groups who prevented rational government. Robert Owen believed deeply in the power of education and saw that children of workmen receive sound education. Charles Fourier advocated the construction of communities called phalanxes, which liberated living would replace the boredom and dullness of industrial existence. Auguste Blanqui sought to abolish both capitalism and the state and urged the development of professional revolutionary vanguard to attack capitalist society. Pierre-Joseph Proudhon wrote What is Property?, in which he attacked the banking system, which rarely extended credit to small property owners or the poor. Karl Marx's socialist philosophy eventually triumphed over most alternative versions of socialism in Europe, and he wrote with Friedrich Engels the Communist Manifesto, in which they wrote that as the proletariat came to liberate itself from its bondage of the capitalist mode of industrial production, such liberations would eventually amount to the liberation of all humanity. Friedrich Engels published The Condition of the Working Class in England, in which presented a devastating picture of industrial life. The French Revolution of 1848 is depicted here. Crowds in Paris burned the throne of Louis Philippe. Louis Costa Magyar nationalists sought to raise troops to fight for Hungarian independence during the revolutionary disturbances of 1848. Thank you.